Hi everybody, Chopped Unk here, and it's been about 3 months since I've made a YouTube video, and things aren't going well. On a micro scale, I've been dealing with water seeping through the foundation in my basement, which is not fun. And then also the music nonprofit that I help run, we're applying for grants and then getting replies from grants that are like, hey, this application is perfect, but the federal government took all of our funding away, so we can't give you money. And that's a nice segue to the macro level dread and sorrow of the everything of everything. I am positive that I am not the only one that is finding it hard to feel positive and hopeful about the world surrounding me. And so today's video will be me discussing the music that recently has made me feel some sense of beauty and wonder in this world. Beginning with the guy in the gorilla shirt. It's so weird not making YouTube videos on a consistent basis anymore, because it's like, what do you mean I have not talked about Cameron Winter and Geese on here? P.S. I have discussed them on my Patreon, which you can access for $1 a month to see monthly videos talking about what I've been listening to, but blah blah blah.
Not nasally, but it almost sounds like kind of an old Hollywood thing.
My origin story with them is that I think in February of this year, I saw somebody tweet, and I'm glad I saw this before I stopped using Twitter. I saw someone tweet a screenshot of Love Takes Miles saying this is the best song ever, or something to that degree. For those unaware, Cameron Winter is the lead vocalist behind the rock band Geese, and he also released his debut solo record Heavy Metal at the very end of 2024. This is the most significant impact that a musician has had on me in years. I got super into MJ Lenderman last year. Dijon and Absolutely was probably the biggest one before that. Phoebe Bridgers was before and during the pandemic, but still, my love for this strange, terrifying individual towers over the rest. As I said, I started with Love Takes Miles, and that is a song that is the definition of what this video is all about. It's this odd, charming, intimate, alternative singer-songwriter ballad thing that starts off kind of drony and awkward, but then it opens up to the heavens like it is gospel. It has that dreamy sort of Strawberry Fields Forever floatiness to it, but with much more of a step. In my opinion, Cameron is not only the greatest songwriter of this generation, and I probably started thinking that before this song was even over for the first time, but it is his perspective matched with these off-kilter, emotive, but not really vocals that I could talk about all day. The shy kind of whimper of, "You left me promising your shoes, mama," to then this building and narrow expulsion of, I need your feet more than you do. And then the ecstasy in the release of, I need somebody sent down from the sun that talks to me how you used to. That verse going into the refrain and the piano keys hitting alongside lonely as hell, feet on the ground. That is music. That is everything to me. From Love Takes Miles, I found myself attracted to the pretty, lovely melodies of Nausicaa. Then the creative manifesto that is the Rolling Stones, which, like, part of me wants to just sit here and recite the entire song to you word for word. You know how people that are really into Shakespeare or poetry in general can just recite off a soliloquy? And it's sort of akin to like being around a campfire, singing a song or telling a story that somebody can just like recite a poem. That is me with this song. I will keep breaking cups until my left hand looks wrong, until my miracle drugs write the miracle song. I will keep rolling down until my best shirt rolls off, until the conga line behind me is 1,000 chickens long. Are you kidding me? This is my Leonard Cohen. This is my Dylan. I was born today. From there, I went to the dismal, limitless sorrow of Drinking Age, a track that begins with what sounds like the world's saddest Kermit the Frog impression, that then goes to Today, I Met Who I'm Gonna Be from now on, and he's a piece of shit. Cancer of the Skull is this joyous, almost schizophrenic monologue with these goofy horns and very lovely harmonies. $0 is this expansive series of ups and downs where we begin with him going to then saying, fuck these people, in a more convincing way than I've ever heard anyone say anything before, to talking about how he feels like a dollar in your hand, a $0 man. And then somehow we finish with the preaching of God is real, God is real. And then the lyrics of, like, I'm not kidding, I wouldn't joke about this, I'm not kidding this time, is simultaneously one of the funniest things I've ever heard in a song, but also, like, yeah, maybe God is real. I love his performance of Love Takes Miles on Jules Holland, which shows a completely different version of the song. How fascinating for the track to be so clearly open to interpretation, and how it can feel so differently as an audience, and I'm guessing as a songwriter too, depending on the day. Also very Dylan-esque. I love his unreleased song, If You Turn Back Now, which is from this one live performance video that I feel like I've watched every day since the beginning of the year. And that one seems to go well alongside Vines and Take It With You, which are from his project Singles. On each of these tracks, you get these like life-altering breakup songs that also relate heavily to the entire human condition altogether. From My Heart Is For Those Who Leave Me Alone to Can't You See I Am a Fortress, Open Your Mouth, What Do You Want to Say, I Keep Killing Your Soul With My Coldness, The Young Spirits They Wither Away, and You Can Love Me From Afar If That's What Puts You at Ease, But You Won't Be On My Mind. This is a 22-year-old person. I love that he'll cover Amazing Grace and that he so clearly appreciates and understands the power and beauty of worship music. You can hear the inspiration that he takes from these next level soulful or spiritual figures like Nina Simone, Nick Drake, and again, Dylan. But at the same time, there's a sense of humor there that matches so well with the bleakness and beauty. When he was in England performing $0, he said instead of a $0 man, he feels like a 0 quid man, and that just warms my heart. There's not enough that I can say about this individual and what his music has meant for me during this period of my life. But what makes this even crazier is that he is the frontman for a truly kick-ass rock band. Geese have an album called 3D Country that I listened to just a tiny bit when it first came out, but it wasn't until I really got into Cameron that I went back to listen to it, and I was like, oh my god, this is stellar too. And what's so sick is Cameron is a completely different vocalist when it comes to Geese stuff as compared to his solo. His range seems to extend tenfold. He's screaming and yelling and emoting like crazy when heavy metal and singles are much calmer. The lyrics to the songs are still uniquely Cameron, but in more of a crazy, psychedelic post-punk way. Whenever I'm recommending this band to people, I talk about a certain kind of X factor that me, as a guy in his late 20s, only seemed to like read about in bands that were around during the 70s. To me at least, there's something about your Queens and Led Zeppelins, Pink Floyds and Black Sabbaths that is this one singular kind of rock and roll magic that only existed during the time that they were making music. And for me at least, I get that sense of magic with Geese in a way that I have not gotten with any other rock band in my life. I'm not saying that they're like the best rock band post 80s onward. No, I mean like Radiohead exists, etc. But I think that there's a special kind of like rock and roll feeling that Geese has that I haven't seen with anybody during my life. I would like to talk about music other than Cameron and Geese in this video, but I just want to end by saying the first 4 tracks on 3D Country, that run of 2122, 3D Country, to Cowboy Nudes, to I See Myself, is one of, if not the greatest 4-track run in the last decade. I plan on dropping this video right around the time that their forthcoming album, Getting Killed, is released, which, very funny title, by the way, and to see the album cover, you have to Google search Geese Getting Killed, which, you know. But yeah, the singles rip, especially Taxes and Trinidad, in their own unique ways, and to my twin and best friend, Kenny Beats, who is executive producing this album, and I believe their next one, too, that's like already been recorded or something. Please DM me and tell me whether or not Cameron is as scary and uncomfortable seeming to have a conversation with as I imagine. So my dog died. Not technically my dog, my sister's dog, but it was a dog that I have known for about half my life, that I knew for her entire life, and it was very hard. During that time of knowing that she had to be put down, to then going to her and being with her for the final time, and then after the fact, I mainly listened to two people, Ryuichi Sakamoto. I think the real pronunciation is Ryuichi, but I'm sorry, I don't want to like butcher a Japanese name. And James Taylor. I don't really have that much that I want to say about this, but from me to you, these were pretty perfect accompaniments for that period of mourning. The Sakamoto stuff, mainly Thousand Knives and good old 1996, those were kind of like the broad soundtracks. There was something to me about going back and forth between the unrivaled creativity of that electronic experimental album that was somehow made in the 70s to then going to 96, where it's just this beautiful collection of classical compositions at the piano. It was very inspiring to me, and for some reason that concept of going back and forth was like very soothing and nice. Then with James Taylor, I was mainly watching these two BBC concerts that you can find on YouTube from 1970 and 71, where he's playing all the classics, You've Got a Friend, Fire and Rain, Carolina in My Mind, Sweet Baby James, so on. And that was the warm hug that I needed during that time. With Sakamoto, for like 8 hours a day, it was sort of this non-specific thing that helped me pick back up into life. After a loss, it is hard to do everyday things, but it was that music that kind of got me back into a routine and helped see like a non-specific beauty in small moments. But with James Taylor and watching those concerts, that was just me thinking about that sweet, beautiful dog that I watched grow from a puppy into a D1 athlete that could jump 10 feet in the air, that I eventually saw not be able to really get up. That's when I needed a sweet, weirdly tall man to serenade me with his beautiful folk songs. Winter, spring, summer, or fall. You know what else keeps you going? Witnessing the accomplishments of people that you admire, that are friends. There was a band that I recorded a live session with called Addie a few years ago. Pretty standard but nice, emo-tinged indie pop rock stuff. The main force behind that band, Adeline is now going by Evil Adeline, and she just released a project called Evil Baby Evil that I highly recommend you check out. After not really seeing much from her within the past couple years, it was a very nice, warm reminder that everyone has their own lives and people are doing some really cool shit out there. The first single, You Hold Me, is an Imogen Heap kind of thing that went like triple platinum in my car. and I was totally ready for a full project of that kind of sound. Then the record came out, and it was just so much more all across the board. Specifically, the one that is like mind-blowing to me is a track called Buried a Gun in the Yard, and it is this glitchy, almost eerie trance that seems to be figuring itself out as a song as it goes. It's always great when you listen to a song or watch a movie, whatever, that reminds you there are no rules to this. You can literally do whatever you want. And this for me was one of those things. Above all else, it is good. It's not just weird for the sake of being weird. So huge shout out to Adeline. Check out Evil Adeline, Evil Baby Evil. It's very enriching to see someone continue to go through their own musical evolution. Check out that record.
I don't know if you should come over anymore.
Similarly, another Alpha Live Session veteran, Mei Semones, is a superhuman. This is sort of less of an analysis of her music because I've talked about it a lot, actually, a decent amount on my Patreon, but also on YouTube a number of times. For those that are so unfortunate to be unaware of Mei, she is this next level gifted artist, musician that combines English and Japanese lyrics while combining indie rock, jazz, bossa nova, J-pop, etc. I have never seen someone up close and personal do what she is able to do with a guitar, and it is so affirming to see someone put in the time and effort with their craft and be rewarded for it, while the art is so singular to them. Listen to her debut album, Animaru, released by Bayonet. No one is doing it like her. Dumb Feeling, I Can Do What I Want, the title track, Zarigani. Who is combining all of these subgenres with a perspective so niche? Who is doing that, and who is doing it at the utmost professional, highly skilled level? Again, it's nice to be different, but it's better to be different and good. And Mei is a master, a virtuoso. How exhilarating as a creative to watch someone be so eclectic, so out of the norm, and be so good that it is impossible to not watch and enjoy what she's doing. In the words of my beloved Cody Rhodes, it took him 14 years to go from undesirable to ungoddamn deniable. And I don't know if Mei was ever exactly undesirable. I mean, why would she be? And I might just be quoting wrestling for the sake of quoting wrestling here, but this is my point. From playing basement shows in Allston, Massachusetts, to getting signed, to Audio Tree, to having Flea as a superfan, to being the cover of the Lorem Spotify playlist, to touring across the US, Europe, and Japan, and to the cover of NME and The Fader, to Pitchfork, to The Late Show with Colbert, to Vivo, to A Color Show, to KEXP, to winning awards at German music festivals, while being featured on the next FIFA soundtrack, while being 1000% totally yourself. It does not get better than that. Thanks. If you want to support me, donate to my Patreon. Only $1 for monthly recommendation videos and the such. Follow me on Instagram at RenshawHS. I have merch. I have a Twitch that I don't use. Goodbye.